Before we dive in, let me leave you with a truth that echoes across every chapter in human history. Nothing we are began in silence. Every civilization, every story, every ancestor left a trail of wisdom waiting to be rediscovered. What you are about to hear is a part of a legacy, preserved, decoded, and brought back to the forefront. I'm OG Mooney. Welcome to AI Legacy Lab.
Future's story doesn't start with a bang, but with a pulse. The steady, rhythmic pulse of Atlanta. Imagine a city where daily life flows like a river, shaping everything in its path. This is the world that molded Nevadius Wilborn, the kid who would become Future. His early movements were a dance between neighborhoods, studios, and family homes, all humming with the same calm, persistent rhythm that Black communities have cultivated for generations. This wasn't a world of sudden shocks or dramatic turns. It was a world of consistency, of repetition. Growing up, he was a sponge, quietly absorbing the sounds and the culture that surrounded him. It wasn't about seeking out inspiration. It was about letting it seep in. Through this constant, almost meditative observation, he began to build an internal library of melodies, cadences, and stories. His understanding of music wasn't a lightning bolt of genius. It was something that formed slowly, patiently, shaped by the familiar patterns of the city, the rumble of the MARTA train, the chatter on the block, the bass spilling out of passing cars. This was his classroom. His rise wasn't a Hollywood montage of overnight success. There was no single moment of transformation, no sudden discovery. Instead, it was a long, unglamorous apprenticeship. He spent years learning, writing, and most importantly, finding his unique voice. He did this within the very same environments where he spent his youth, a landscape of familiarity and comfort. He wasn't alone, though. Mentors like his cousin, Rico Wade of the legendary Dungeon family, saw the spark in him. They didn't push him into the spotlight. They guided him, helping him navigate the early, confusing stages of creative development. They provide the space for him to experiment and grow at his own pace. If you listen to his earliest recordings, you can hear it. There's a steady, unwavering tone, a direct reflection of the unbroken rhythm of his Atlanta life. The visuals from that time weren't flashy or fabricated. They were real. They showed Black scenes, familiar faces, and the raw, authentic environments that raised him. It was a mirror held up to his community, a testament to where he came from. His identity was deeply intertwined with the city's identity. As his style began to take shape, it was clear he was building something different. It wasn't about chasing trends or copying what was popular. His sound was rooted in raw emotion, brutal honesty, and a rich, complex texture. Think of it like a sculptor slowly chipping away at a block of stone. His evolution was calm, continuous, and driven by deep reflection and lived experience. Each song, each mixtape was another layer added, another detail refined. He wasn't changing who he was. He was becoming more of who he was meant to be. This patient, deliberate process laid an unshakable foundation. It was this grounding in his roots, this deep understanding of his own voice and story that prepared him for the journey ahead. His ascent wasn't a rocket launch. It was a gradual, steady climb. And it was this slow burn, this commitment to his craft and his truth, that ultimately made him one of the most influential and enduring voices of his generation. He showed the world that true artistry isn't always born in a flash of lightning, but can be cultivated in the steady, quiet rhythm of everyday life. He is a product of his environment, a testament to the power of place, and a master of turning the constant pulse of his city into a sound that would echo around the globe. As Future moved deeper into his creative process, he continued working with the same calm, steady rhythm that had shaped his early years. He spent long hours in those familiar Atlanta studios, surrounded by collaborators who shared the same grounded energy. These were people who understood the vibe, who understood the mission. He wasn't looking for sudden flashes of inspiration or dramatic changes in direction. Instead, he focused on repetition, on refining melodies, on building songs through patient, deliberate practice. This method was all about slow, gradual development. It was like watching a sculpture take form, not from a single violent strike, but from thousands of small, careful touches. Each track was allowed to grow naturally, organically. His music was forming through a process that kept everything stable and consistent. You could feel the foundation being laid brick by brick. The people around him, his producers, his engineers, his fellow artists, they all contributed their skills in a smooth, continuous way. They weren't there to disrupt the flow. They were there to enhance it, adding layers without ever shifting the fundamental tone. This collaborative spirit was crucial, creating a seamless creative environment where ideas could flourish without pressure. Future stayed committed to learning, to improving, and to deeply understanding his own sound. This wasn't about chasing trends or trying to fit into a mold. It was about introspection and dedication. His approach was rooted in regular daily work, showing up every day, putting in the hours, and trusting the process. This disciplined practice helped him shape a style that listeners all over the world would eventually connect with. Why? Because it carried a steady, undeniable emotional weight. There were no sudden breaks or jarring jumps in his musical evolution. It was a consistent, reliable presence that people could hold on to. He kept showing up with that same solid, unwavering presence, day in and day out. The music he was creating was a direct reflection of the environment he came from, the sounds, the culture, the spirit of Atlanta. His influence didn't explode overnight. It expanded quietly, steadily, through this constant, unyielding effort. It was a slow burn, gaining momentum with each release. His name began to spread not just as an artist, but as a reflection of something more: endurance, discipline, and a long-term dedication to his craft. He never rushed, and he never changed his direction sharply. He trusted his own pace, and that trust is what built an empire. This steady rhythm wasn't just a phase. It became the hallmark of his entire career. Think about his vast discography. You can trace a clear line, a consistent thread running through it all. From his early mixtapes to his chart-topping albums, the core of Future's sound remains intact. This is incredibly rare in an industry that constantly demands reinvention. But Future's genius wasn't in reinvention. It was in refinement. He took his signature sound, the melodic flows, the introspective yet braggadocious lyrics, the trap-infused beats, and he polished it, perfected it, and explored every possible corner of it. His studios in Atlanta weren't just places to record. They were creative sanctuaries. They were labs where he could experiment within the framework he had established. The collaborators he chose were more than just session musicians. They were part of a creative family. People like Metro Boomin, Zaytoven, and Southside weren't just making beats for him. They were co-architects of his sound. They understood his vision because they were part of it. This synergy created a feedback loop of creativity where everyone was on the same wavelength, pushing in the same direction. The energy was grounded, focused, and free of ego. It was all about the music. This process allowed each song to breathe and develop its own identity, but always within the larger context of his artistic universe. A melody might start as a simple hummed idea, repeated over and over until it found its perfect form. A lyrical concept might be workshopped and refined through hours of conversation and freestyle sessions. Nothing was forced. The patience he exhibited was key. In a world of instant gratification, Future chose the path of the craftsman, believing that true quality comes from time and effort. This patient practice meant that by the time a song was finished, it felt complete, inevitable, as if it had always existed in that form. The emotional weight in his music is a direct result of this methodical approach. Because he wasn't jumping from one feeling to another, he was able to explore emotions with incredible depth. Listeners felt that authenticity. They could connect to the pain, the joy, the ambition, because it felt real and sustained. His music became a soundtrack for people's lives, a reliable source of a specific feeling or mood. You knew what you were getting when you pressed play on a Future track, and that reliability built a powerful bond of trust with his audience. His influence spread like ripples in a pond. It wasn't a tidal wave that crashed and receded. It was a steady, rising tide. Other artists started to notice. They saw the success that came from his dedication and consistency. They started to emulate not just his sound, but his work ethic. The future flow became a staple in modern hip-hop, but the real lesson was in his approach. He showed a generation of artists that you don't have to compromise your vision or chase every new trend to stay relevant. You can build a lasting legacy by staying true to yourself and putting in the work day after day. His name, Future, became synonymous with endurance. In a notoriously fickle industry, he has remained at the top for over a decade. That's not an accident. It's the result of discipline and a long-term vision. He wasn't just thinking about the next hit single. He was thinking about his body of work, his legacy. He understood that true influence is built over time. It's about showing up, staying consistent, and never losing sight of the craft. His journey is a masterclass in artistic development, proving that sometimes the quietest, most consistent efforts make the loudest impact. His career is a testament to the power of a calm, steady rhythm and a dedication that never ever wavers. Ever wonder what makes an artist truly timeless? It's not always about explosive hits or sudden reinventions. Sometimes it's about the slow, steady burn of consistency. And nobody embodies this more than Future. As he moved through the later stages of his career, a fascinating pattern emerged. It wasn't about chasing trends or making sharp turns. It was about maintaining the same calm, steady rhythm that guided him from the very beginning. His entire approach was built on a foundation of daily work and balanced habits. This disciplined routine kept his music deeply grounded, always connected to the world and the streets he came from. It's a powerful lesson in itself. Greatness isn't always a sprint. Often, it's a marathon run at your own pace. Think about his recording process. Even with massive success, Future recorded with the same relaxed control he had in his early years. He surrounded himself with black collaborators and worked in familiar studio spaces. This consistency wasn't a limitation. It was his strength. It created an environment where his sound could mature organically without losing its core identity. His voice, that signature blend of reflection, raw emotion, and a steady, almost hypnotic tone, remained the anchor. It's the voice listeners instantly recognize, a constant in an ever-changing musical landscape. He never felt the need for sudden changes or dramatic vocal shifts because the power was already there, rooted in authenticity. This dedication to his core sound is why his music feels both current and classic at the same time. Future's work ethic is something to behold. He operates at a patient, methodical pace, allowing each project to form naturally. There's no rush, no sense of panic to churn out the next big thing. Instead, his creative process is built on routine and repetition, refining his craft day in and day out. This patient approach allows ideas to breathe and develop into fully realized works. And the atmosphere around him? It stayed firmly rooted in the same neighborhoods, studios, and environments that shaped his earliest ideas. He kept his circle tight with people who understood and supported the energy he was cultivating. This created a bubble of creative purity, shielding him from the pressures of the industry and allowing him to stay true to his vision. This consistency extends beyond the music itself, right into the visuals that tell his story. If you look at his music videos and album art over the years, you'll notice a continuous thread. The visuals consistently feature black side characters and scenes that authentically match his background and experience. It's not just an aesthetic choice. It's a deliberate act of representation. He's not just telling his own story. He's reflecting the world of his community. This visual language reinforces the themes in his music, creating a cohesive and immersive world for his listeners. It's a masterclass in building a brand that is both personal and universally resonant, all by staying true to where you come from. So, how does an artist maintain such a strong presence over so many years? For Future, the answer is clear: by moving forward slowly and evenly. He let his catalog grow through time, avoiding the temptation of rapid turns or dramatic, headline-grabbing moments. His career wasn't built on a series of peaks and valleys, but on a steady upward climb. Each year that passed, his name settled deeper and deeper into the fabric of the culture. This wasn't achieved through marketing gimmicks or fleeting fame. It was earned through sheer persistence, daily effort, and the long, slow building of a legacy. His journey is a powerful reminder that a career shaped by consistency can be far more enduring than one built on sudden, explosive transformation. When you listen to a Future track, you're not just hearing a song. You're hearing the culmination of years of dedicated work. You're hearing an artist who found his lane early and chose to master it rather than constantly swerving. His music has become a soundtrack for a generation, precisely because it feels so reliable and real. The themes of struggle, ambition, and complex emotions are delivered with a steady hand, making them relatable year after year. He's created a musical universe that is entirely his own, yet one that so many people feel a part of. That's the magic of his consistency. It's not boring, it's profound. It shows that true artistic evolution doesn't always require a revolution. In the end, the story of Future's later career is a lesson in the power of staying grounded. In an industry that often demands constant change, he chose a different path. He chose to honor his roots, his sound, and his process. By doing so, he built something that will last. His influence isn't just in the charts or the streaming numbers. It's in the way he has shown other artists that there is immense power in a steady, focused journey. He proves that you don't have to lose yourself to find success. You can bring your world with you, build upon it, and watch as it grows into an empire, one day at a time, one track at a time. It's the slow burn that ultimately creates the most lasting light. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the consistency of a modern icon, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments which artist career you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next one.
Another chapter reclaimed, another piece of history placed back where it belongs. If you have found any meaning in this, let it sit with you. Let it sharpen your vision, not just for the past, but for who we are becoming. I'm OG Mooney, and this is AI Legacy Lab. Honoring truth, protecting legacy, one story at a time. Until next time, stay curious.